All right. Welcome back. Happy Sunday. Today is March 16, 2025. I am Eve, and tonight, well, I've got some thoughts about some people. I've got some questions. I thought maybe we could have a conversation. I know it's been a minute since I've been early enough to say that I am right on time. And I'm so happy that you've decided to join me, at least for a little while, this Sunday evening or afternoon, depending on where you are. If you're new here, make sure you hit the bell. Sometimes YouTube is friendly to this channel and will let you know when I'm live. And if you liked what I had to say, hit the thumbs up, let me know. Let other people know that you liked this show as well. Um, but you might not like what I have to say tonight because tonight, paid to provoke, I am pretty sure that if you're paid to provoke, then people can label you an agent provocateur, an agent of chaos, a paid actor, if you will. There's a couple people that come to mind when I think of being paid to promote certain messages, certain misinformation, and just bad math across the board. And I'm talking none other than your favorite confused media journalist personalities. That would be Stephen A. Smith, Joy Reid, and Roland Martin, of course. Everybody got mad when Tariq said that people were tethering, and well, I got very excited because it meant, hey, yeah, it's going to be a lot of people uncomfortable. And I don't know if it's the petty demon in me, but I know that there's a few of y'all that have that petty demon in you as well. And you ran with it. You ran with it so far that people who say that they don't pay attention, that they're ignoring, that they don't know what all is going on in that neck of the woods or on that side of the world. They actually know, and not only do they know, but they're tuned in themselves. Now, they might have people working for them. Shout out to the big media conglomerates and people who have that dollar backing um, their their machine. But I'm not that. I don't have any big dollars backing the machine over here. It's just us and a bunch of mini midgets running around here. If you hear them in the background, just ignore them. They're doing the things that minis do. And since they don't have school tomorrow, then nah, I guess I don't really care what they're doing as long as they don't burn the house down with us in it. Anyway, Stephen A. Smith. Okay, look, I wasn't sure where I wanted to start because all three of these people equally have a dog in this fight. It's the people when they don't have any say in the argument that want to be the loudest in the room. And then you find that when it's time for them to talk, well, they're crickets, quiet as church mice. And I wonder, is that on purpose or do they not know? I guess I used to think that they didn't know some things. I used to think that maybe it was just ignorant. Ignorance is bliss. And, it is, I guess, a comfortable existence to not know some things. However, once you are aware of some things, you learn about some things. When you don't use the information that you've learned, especially if you've learned that it is true, they are facts. It's not anything debatable as much as maybe you just didn't like learning the truth. Why is it that people are still stuck on stupid? Are they paid to be stuck on stupid? Are they paid to keep people stuck on stupid? I don't know. I don't have any insights into their bank coffers. I do know that at least Roland Martin was found to have been paid a pretty penny by Kamala's people. Um, well, it's it's very interesting. He was one of the loudest in the room talking about how they need to get a check. They need their money and they need it now. It was like that insurance commercial that used to play. JG Wentworth 877 cash now. Do y'all know what I'm talking about? Or did I just age myself? That's okay. I know I'm old. And maybe you're not. For what it's worth, it's a bunch of people who are new to my channel. So I have no clue the demographics just yet, but I'm a little old, and maybe I use analogies that are over your head. Just, your parents probably know what I'm talking about, but they probably won't like my conversation, especially if you're a youth and you're listening to me, because chances are your parents are not having these types of conversations. But I wanted to maybe start here. Is this where I wanted to start? Um, no, it's this one. Yeah. Okay, it's this one. It's this one. 1 second. And here we go.
Popular show, Roland Martin Unfiltered. I always love talking to him about all things politics, and boy, do we have a lot to talk about today. Please welcome the one and only Roland Martin to the show. What's up, big time? How are you, man? How's everything?
I'm all good.
All right, before we even get started, let's flash the shirt. Just stick out that shirt with your big chest and your big shoulders. Stick it out there.
So I got this from the group Georgia Stand Up a couple of years ago. And so you said elect black women, fund black women, believe black women, invest in black women, follow black women, defend black women, hire black women, promote black women. And so you see, they say stand up and vote for black women. So I thought it was a perfect time to pull this shirt out.
And I find this is a perfect time to just insert that the black woman that he was speaking of at the time is not she's not black as much as she does have melanin. I'm a person who is of the mind that racial identifiers are a little passe, a little antiquated, especially when we've got so many different groups of people. So much science and math has been done, and inside of this discovery that, well, there's no such thing as white people. There's also no such thing as quote, quote, black people, because all of these black people are not actually black until they get to America, which is very strange. Very strange. It's a strange occurrence. And then, well, the black Americans can't even identify as black because of all of these other blacks. But again, they don't actually identify as black until they get here. So what are we doing? I don't know. It's just a thought. But just saying that he's got that shirt on promoting black women, but then they went and voted for a woman who cosplays and then had absolutely zero interest in the black community outside of getting their vote. But I digress. Let me not belabor that point.
It can't get much more perfect than this. I mean, Kamala Harris now as the favorite, to say the least, because President Joe Biden has decided to step aside for the 2024, obviously for the presidency of the United States to be reelected. It's a decision I clearly supported and have supported for weeks now, Roland. When you heard the news, just give me your take and what you've been feeling over the last 24 hours since the news came down.
It was no shock. Look, for 24 days after the June 27th debate, Democrats had been attacking President Joe Biden. In fact, they hit Biden more than they hit Donald Trump. And a week after the debate, the polls were still tied. But every day, the constant barrage, media and Democrats, even after Donald Trump's horrible speech on Thursday, the Democrats were still targeting Biden. So it was no shock the polls had shifted. The polls had changed, if you will. And so that's where they were. And so he really had no choice because of the drumbeat was never going to stop. So he endorses Vice President Kamala Harris. I thought it was an obviously smart move. And you've seen how the party is coalescing around her. $80 million raised in the first 24 hours. Last night, 45,000 black women were on a Zoom call.
Now, as a black woman, like I said already, I'm going to have to just say that those women on the Zoom call, women be doing dumb shit. And excuse my language, I'm going to do my best not to not to curse too much tonight, but women do dumb things all the time. I mean, there is a whole school of thought revolving around the dumb things that women do. So to say that there's been thousands of women who've gathered together to be on a phone call about a woman who is not who she says she is, that's not strange to me. It's not even amazing to me. It's just more of the same. You know, when we're looking at these systems, at these people running these parties, you know, are we ever looking for someone doing something different? Are we ever asking ourselves, why is it that they're doing the same thing, expecting a different result? Is it a discipline thing or is it a programming thing? And when I think about these agent provocateurs, these people who are paid to provoke or promote weird agendas and ideologies, I just wonder, uh, are these people like me? Are they my brothers and sisters? Or are they, yeah, some distant relative, you know, like a cousin from across the water, not down the way, but across the ocean? You know, they keep saying I mean, people on your screen have said, it's just a boat stop away. It's just a boat stop away. We're all the same. We just got off the boat at different times. And yeah, we did get off the boat at different times. My people got here hundreds of years before your people got here. Yeah, well, they all took boats because I guess there's no evidence of helicopters and teleportation from back then. But, you know, I guess if you tune into my Wednesdays with Dr. Winters, you might hear of some evidence that shows that we have been able to get places in an instant for a long time. Maybe we've forgotten that. Maybe those resources were used for other things. Maybe there are so many people here who are acting like they are the people that are supposed to be here that we don't have time to get back to the advancements that we were making because we've got to clean house. You know, this man on your screen is a problem, but if everybody who isn't white is a victim of racism, white supremacy, then he too is a victim of his own stupidity, of his immaturity, of his ignorance, and of the system that I just told you about. Because, well, the system was designed perfectly, designed to confuse you and designed to make you think that once you get it, you actually don't got it. And the more you think you got it, that's probably more time for you to sit with the fact that maybe it's not what you thought it was. This man on your screen is a person who was born here, has brown skin, went to the schools, joined the groups. But if if his family had waited a little while longer, he would be in the group of people who are wondering if their citizenship took. You know, like that Plan B test that people take. You know, they're wondering if it took, did it quite. Oh, dang, I still got a baby in there. You know, that's what his party of people pushed. Killing babies, of course. You know, but, well, they're so concerned.
They raised $1.5 million. The Democrats.
They raised so much money and lost so much money. But the Democrats are supposed to be the sensible party. The party of the people. The party. Okay.
Different delegations supporting her. All of the candidates that everybody said was going to vie for the nomination, guess what? They've all endorsed Kamala Harris. Nancy Pelosi, who won an open convention, she won support for Kamala Harris. She has endorsed her. Now, I don't know what Barack Obama.
That's where I was going. That's where I was going. I mean, Barack Obama, Michelle Obama, both of them. We haven't heard anything from them as of yet.
No. Obama released a statement.
Okay, I haven't seen it.
He praised Joe Biden. And he talked about this open convention process. That's like.
That's what I'm talking. I didn't mean that we haven't heard from him. I was saying,
right,
Michelle and Barack Obama.
I guess that's a good spot for a commercial because, you might be wondering, well, Eve, this was months ago. Donald Trump is president now. This is prior to the election. Why is this relevant? It's relevant because this was months ago, right? I mean, an actual factual on the calendar months ago. And well, now.
And so I've been watching all these takes in the past weeks of the Supreme Court rendered their decision. And one that caught my eye was last night. On Fox News, Will Cain, formerly of ESPN, had on his former colleague, Stephen A. Smith. They were on the show together, and because Stephen A. had discussed this on his radio show. So I just got a kick out of this almost 8.5-minute interview, not because of what was said, because of what wasn't said. Press play.
Host of the Stephen A. Smith Show and First Take on ESPN joins us now. Stephen A. Great to see you, man.
What's going on, buddy? How you doing, man?
You want me to just go right at that clip? Is that how we should do this? We just start right there?
Feel free.
Okay. There's no such thing. I know you are. The problem is, Stephen A., in truth, when it comes to justice, there is no such thing as Black America and white America. There are only individuals. Okay. And so when you assign...
See, already that boy starting off lying. He already starting off lying. Will, you lying. See, I love the utopia when they say, no, there are no... See, that's what sounds like the Obama speech. There are no Black Americas. There are no red Americas, no blue Americas. There's just the United States of America. That shit sounds cute. It sounds cute and wonderful. It's so like the people when they respond to King's I Have a Dream speech, they always like, oh, it's the content of character, and oh, why can't our little boys, little girls hold hands? But they are silent when it comes to redlining. They're silent when it comes to discrimination. They're silent when it comes to home values in Black and census tracts, largely Black. They're silent when you talk about the health disparities between whites and Blacks. They're silent about all of those things, but no, they're just a collection of individuals. That has always been a lie in this country. Press play.
Ability.
I know I have him on extra fast, but that's because he talks a lot slower than I need him to talk for this show. Because did you catch it? Maybe you caught it. Maybe you didn't. They're silent. He's silent about something. It's glaring to me. Maybe it's glaring to you. I don't know.
Silent when you talk about the health disparities between whites and Blacks. They're silent about all of those things, but
I mean, he goes to health disparities. He's talking about redlining.
I Have a Dream speech. They always like, oh, it's the content of character, and oh, why can't our little boys, little girls hold hands? But they are silent when it comes to redlining. They're silent.
It's so funny to me because, I have this short up on the channel, and it is from a show from a couple weeks ago where, I just asked the question, if your foundation to this nation, are you foundational? And I know some of y'all don't like the terminology. Fine. Are you native to this land? Because if you are, then you don't feel negatively about some things as much as maybe you are sympathetic to oppression in general. I get that. We are very humanitarian. I mean, we are the most loving people on the planet, probably, would give the shirt off of our backs and not have one to replace it, because I don't know if it's a combination of how we are and how we've been taught, but the meritorious manumission aspect of it all, and the fact that there is in term benign neglect, these things are beat into us, so it's almost no wonder why we are selfless like this. But then, we have a moment of clarity. We wake up from the fog. We find out that we've integrated our people into a burning house. So then for this man to use that man in any form or fashion and not speak of reparations, he's silent about the actual debt. He was silent about why it's owed or who it's owed to. And he's always pretty quiet when it comes to reparations. And it's probably because he's not owed. When people are not from here, they don't have the same ties to the land, they don't have the same loyalties, then they don't fight for the same things. And they don't have to look the same. I mean, can you look at a Christian and a Catholic and a Baptist and tell the difference between them? I mean, really, yeah, you can probably look at a Muslim person, maybe, and a Jewish person, maybe, and say, okay, there's a difference there. But for the most part, there's not going to be a lot of differences between people that you can see. It's in their story, it's in their paperwork, and for what it's worth, the three people I'm speaking about tonight were all born here. The original anchor babies, if you will. Tethering 101. You know, they got to get it from somewhere. They got to pass it to someone, because if they don't pass it, then the tethering stops. I'm of the mind that the tethering can stop, but I know that that's probably an ideal. You know, it's probably a utopia, and I get it. We're not going to get everything we want. I don't think that we're going to get rid of white people, or even that all white people are bad. For what it's worth, I think that there's more bad blacks than there are whites in general. I'm sorry, y'all are in the global red. Like, there's not a lot of y'all, but I mean, there's more bad people who have melanin than I care to really go into tonight. So the ones I'm going to talk about, like this guy on your screen, you know, he's silent when it comes to the things that actually matter, and then he starts talking about where, I guess, his oppression starts. Make sure y'all pick up on these code words and when people start the oppression game. You know, my story is sadder than yours because, well, my dad got here and only had 2 cents in his pocket. Well, my grandma got over here and didn't have any money in her pocket and had to do some things to make a way for us. And okay, okay.
When it comes to discrimination, they're silent when it comes to home values in black and census tracts, largely black. They're silent when you talk about the health disparities between whites and blacks. They're silent about all of those things, but no, they're just a collection of individuals. That has always been a lie in this country, personally.
Ability to individuals of the past, to individuals of today, there's simply nothing to hold anyone accountable for. Why do I pay the price for the sins of the past, and you reap the benefits in the case of affirmative action?
Why do I pay the price for the sins of the past, and you reap the benefits? I want y'all to remember those words. I want you to remember those words. Press play.
You had affirmative action, but you as a black man would reap the benefits of affirmative action for the sins committed on someone of the past. We are only in the end, Stephen A., individuals.
Mm-hmm. Well, first of all, I get where you're coming from, and I can understand how you would look at it that way. You have to respect the fact that I have a different cultural background, a different experience than you, and I might feel a bit differently about it. What I would tell you is this. There's so many people, and the people that have been supportive of the Supreme Court's latest ruling are of the mindset that blacks were getting an unfair advantage. What black people would contend to you is that it wasn't an unfair advantage. Remember, race was a consideration, one of many considerations that would be taken into the equation when you talk about college admissions, and I think ultimately diversity, equity, and inclusion is next, personally, when you think about some of the things that have been taking place in corporate America. But it wasn't that. It was an effort to sort of make an effort to even the playing scales to some degree because of the iniquities exacted against the African-American community in this country. It wasn't about giving them an advantage. It was about highlighting the fact that they were discriminated, meaning we were discriminated against at that particular moment in time. And that's why the policy was instituted to begin with. So when folks are walking around.
Yeah, that's where we're going to have to interrupt him, because Roland's not going to interrupt him here. Roland shares the same story, but they don't come from the same place. No, when I was doing their little bio checks earlier, Roland's people comes from Haiti, maybe, and then Stephen A's people come from I don't know, another island, but it's not Haiti and it's not Jamaica. You can look it up. Google is your friend. Anyway, the three of them, born here in the States, all have Caribbean ties. So there's that. I guess maybe we'll have to have another show about the agent provocateurs from the motherland. But tonight, just the coconuts. We're going to talk about those. And well, like I said, Roland's not going to interrupt him, because Roland's oppression story starts with redlining and discrimination and segregation. But here in America, the story, the oppression game story, the pull your bootstraps together and put your big girl panties on and get to work and work harder, and all of these weird sayings for people who have been working the entire time. I mean, working so hard and not getting any credit, not getting any payment, and dying for it in some cases and instances. It's very strange, right? They're talking about the people, but they're not talking about the people. They're calling themselves the people, but they're not the people. It's tethering 101, you guys, because again, they were born here. And the way that people were misunderstanding the Constitution and the amendments, I get it. A lot of you fell asleep during government, but the school system here, it sucks. So unless your parents paid for your education, you probably didn't really care about what the teacher was talking about. And I get it. I'm an educator, and there are some students who've checked out way before they get to my class. So while I might make it interesting for them, they don't really care anymore. It's past them. They're on to bigger and better things. And, anything in a textbook that isn't going to be a direct way for them to make money, they might not be paying attention. But when they find out that they are people who are owed money, people who are, I guess, expected not to say anything about it, the children get a little angry. They get a little aggressive. And it's funny because it's never taken out on me or anybody who's been on their side. It's always taken out on the teachers who've had a bone to pick with them. And I've never understood that either, outside of it's just some teachers probably don't need to be teaching, but that's another conversation for a different night. So tonight, Roland and Stephen, they're talking about being Black, being African American, but there's no such thing as African American unless Elon Musk is African American. And since we didn't ask for that term, we named ourselves. It's a story as old as time, people naming themselves. I mean, even if you just look at the fact that animals kick their young out of the nest, or I guess that's birds. Yeah, other animals are born with the ability to fend for themselves, like straight out the womb. Have you ever seen an elephant or a giraffe be born? It's like, boom, they hit the ground. And if they can't make it, they get left. It's survival of the fittest. And I guess a fitting and ironic tale for what we've got going on. The fittest, I don't know if it's going to be because you are actually fit, if you are the smartest, if you've got the most resources. Right now, I think the fittest is going to be the people who are the most prepared for the things. And when you've been tethering the entire time, maybe you don't have any wherewithal about what needs to be done. You've been kind of parasitic, just kind of hoping that the host doesn't know that you're there. Once the host knows you're there and we're all in survival mode, well, my resources are for me and for me only. I don't have any to share. No more shirt off my back because I don't have one to replace it. And then if I do have one to replace it, is it because we're doing something equally exchanging, or is it, again, I'm sacrificing, I'm giving you something that is mine and you're just here with your hands out? I don't understand why you feel so comfortable to do such a thing unless you've been taught to do such a thing. And if it is in your teaching, then welcome to Unlearn, Relearn. 2025, people like Stephen A. Smith, people that you thought fought for one team might fight for another.
Acting as if there is a reason to celebrate. And I'm looking at folks that are feeling like somehow, some way, they've been shortchanged. My mentality is, wait a minute, the policies were implemented to begin with because the African American community was being shortchanged. And they were being denied the same privileges or the same opportunities that were accorded to white folks in America.
What I would say to that is you do not solve past discrimination by present or future discrimination. And there were certainly injustices under the banner of affirmative action inflicted upon individuals, whether or not they be white or Asian American.
Stop right there. Really? Will just said there were injustices inflicted upon white people and Asian Americans when it comes to affirmative action. Will Kane, let me ask you this question. Who has been the greatest beneficiary of affirmative action since its inception? white women. White.
Here's the money glitch that's getting women.
And there was a commercial glitch, but I guess it was money related. You know, that's how you get paid on YouTube, with those ads. So, Roland, shame on you for putting an ad in the middle of my show. I was trying to get to something. Let's see if we can get back to it.
That what I was doing had value. And in the end, I'm sorry, I try not to cry on TV.
Joy Reid.
Yeah, I know. He was talking about affirmative action and white women, and I got Joy Reid on your screen, but it's fitting, right? Because you've got these Black women in these spaces acting upset. They're confused. I mean, I thought it was pretty funny that you get fired during your time off. How do you get fired during Black History Month? I don't know. It's like getting called into work on a Saturday and being told not to come back in on Monday. But that's what happened during the month that everybody in the media is comfortable talking about their Blackness and how it's the first Black, that this person is the first Black, and whoa, let's give them appreciation because they were the first Black. She was the first Black, and well, now she doesn't have a show anymore. And seasons change, Joy. That's okay. You know, you're gonna be all right. I guess you just need another job, because at the end of the day, weren't you just getting a check, or was this really what you believed in? Because I don't know. Sometimes when people are so gung-ho about the agenda, it's because they identify with the agenda in a personal way. You'll find that a lot of times rainbow allies might actually be gay in the closet. They don't necessarily want you to know how they roll as much as they just want to be around a bunch of people who are just like them, uncomfortable with themselves and wanting other people to be comfortable with them. Because, I mean, again, how you lay, I don't know if you need a whole group to be comfortable. But I guess that's society, a bunch of people and a bunch of different groups all doing things. In America, we've got a bunch of people and a bunch of different groups all trying to make some money. But there are powers that be that they put a damper on these things. Then you have the news that's supposed to be giving you information that you can use to better your life, to stay safe, to be prepared for the weather. And not only do they get the weather wrong a lot of times, but they are not preparing you with information that you can use to keep you safe. They're late with the information. And then you've got these journalists who are supposed to be common sense. You know, they got the melanin clearly. And obviously, these people are going to give you something that you can use. But even they're late to the party. And they're late to the party on purpose. It's my thinking that they've been paid to promote these agendas. You know, they're provoking our sensibilities and hoping that we turn a blind eye to the chaos because it's not your circus. You know, it's not something that's directly affecting you. But, you know, when people do that, when people use that idea that it's not directly affecting me, so I don't have to worry about it, well, a lot of problems can arise, and then you'll find that the problem is right there on your doorstep. And it wasn't affecting you at the time, but now it is. And hopefully it's not this avalanche of a problem. Hopefully it's something very easy to deal with. But in 2025, United States of America, the people who are not from here don't sound like they're not from here. Not anymore. The people who are not from here don't look like they're not from here. Not anymore. And actually, as I said that out loud, I was saying, that's not true, Eve. You were just at the store the other day, and there are a bunch of people, you can look at them and know they have an accent. And that's true. Yes, there are still a lot of people here who are not from here, not supposed to be here, with very heavy accents and don't speak a lick of English. But I'm not talking about them. I'm talking about the original anchors, the ones that these new ones are learning from. Because when they're on these airwaves and in these spaces on the mic, speaking their speeches, they're talking to somebody. You can't have a channel with 1 million subscribers and it not be somebody listening. And since there are more somebodies listening than not, I would say that maybe there's a few people who they feel the same. They want to be included. They want to know that they have a home. And they don't want you to check their papers. They want you to be comfortable with who they are because they said that they were who they were. Never mind the fact that they got a check for $350,000. Maybe that's why you were so loud about how much money was raised overnight, because you knew that your check was included in that amount. Again, when people's money is on the line, you find that they might move a little differently. They might have some pep in their step. Consequently, when their money is on the line, they start getting very nervous about accountability. They don't want you checking what they've spent their money on because it's their money. Why are you checking in my bank account? I'm a responsible adult. Who are you to tell me that I shouldn't spend on this? These are the same people for the last 4 years telling us that we shouldn't worry about the price of groceries, who are complaining about the fact that the price of eggs haven't changed in 60 days. For 4 years, the price of eggs has been ridiculous. Maybe not 4 years, maybe just the last 3 years. But I think 3 years, 2 years, 1 whole year before Donald Trump became the president again, something could have been done about the price of eggs. And I'm almost willing to guarantee you that that would have been enough for Donald Trump to lose the presidency. If Kamala Harris had just done something about the price of groceries, she would be sitting in the Oval Office right now. But she didn't. And she's not. So when you've got people who are upset that they've lost their seat at the table, their team didn't win the championship, they don't get to pass go and collect that $200 that they're used to collecting. They start having crash outs like the one you see on your screen. You've got sibling rivalry happening like you saw with Stephen A. Smith and Roland. They're buddies, but they're former colleagues at the moment. It's almost like they've been friends for a long time. And maybe it's in their long friendship that they've been able to make some plans. I had a video that I won't be able to play tonight because I can't find it right now, but it's very interesting how you can find out that people know people. And then you start putting that timeline clock on their relationship and how they are today. Well, you might find out that Fat Joe was stealing a bunch of money from Big Pun. I don't know. This is just things that are coming out about things. And I know I wasn't really talking about Fat Joe tonight. I'm just saying, did y'all hear about that shit? That's crazy, right? I thought they was boys. That you stealing? Make what was you steal? That's crazy. That's crazy. But tethering. You will do anything, right? And it doesn't matter if it's your best friend, your brother, your homie, your cousin, your mom, or your dad. You will do whatever it takes to be where you want to be. And I think that's a story that we should all be very familiar with, because if we are going to be a people who are still here, like we've been here the entire time and will be here, if I have any say on it, we're going to have to remember that the original invaders tethered. If you liked what I had to say tonight, that like button is not gonna bite you. Make sure you hit it before I end my show, and I'll know that you liked being uncomfortable. And I know nobody likes being uncomfortable, but it's like pruning. And this is the time for spring cleaning. Once you get rid of all of the dead weight, the flower can start to grow the way it's supposed to grow. And if you're American, like me, or if you're not American, but you did what you were supposed to do and you have the paperwork to prove it, maybe you don't go waving a foreign flag in the streets when you're mad about things. Maybe when you're talking about oppression and people who are owed, you talk about the original dead. Maybe you do things that make sense, and then you'll find that you're not going to be at the end of anybody's criticism. Why would they criticize somebody who is speaking the right way? It's the people who, they come to and through your house, they got on muddy boots and they are eating up all your food. That's who we're talking to. Not the ones of you who are doing the right thing. And to white America, the original tethers, do you know how many of y'all I'm learning are not supposed to be here either? I've been asking, where are the original colonizers? Because it's between Canadians and Eastern European people. I don't know that I've seen any in like decades. Like, are y'all all gone? Do y'all still exist? I mean, really, I'm not trolling right now. I would like to have a conversation with the WASPs, because the way that you're in the global red, maybe you're not here anymore. Maybe it's so many other people here that you've been bred out and not to your advantage. So I don't know. Maybe that was just a call to the open-ended universe, and it's never going to be answered. But if it does get answered, can you imagine the conversation between the original blacks and the original whites? Dun, dun, dun. No, okay. Sorry. That was for dramatic flair. And I don't want to ramble. I just want y'all to know that tonight is just another night. And I'm not a tether. I'm supposed to be here. These other people, they've made me very uncomfortable. And I hope that it isn't stifling, because once we figure out that our positioning in this country is on purpose, then you've understood the cheat code. We're not supposed to be here, yet here we are. So we can use that.
Just eat.